Hello, I'm Dr. Leon Stutzman, aka Doc, with another one of these little videos designed to help you to get through these strange days in which we find ourselves, and these yet remain strange days indeed. They really do. I'm talking this week about your appointment to prosper. Appointed to prosper. You are appointed just as Joseph, whose name means adding to, was appointed to prosper, and he stood before Pharaoh. He explained Pharaoh's dreams. Pharaoh said, "Where will I find a man that I can set over the land?" And Joseph just stood there like, duh, because he had just given the interpretation. And of course, he was elevated to second only to Pharaoh in the land of Egypt. There's some things that Joseph understood about prosperity that you need to understand if you're going to keep your appointment to prosperity. Number two, prosperity is a productive process. Hope you caught Monday's video. That was number one. Number two, prosperity is a productive process. Cattle are raised, corn is grown. Prosperity is a process. You ought to say that out loud, process. It doesn't happen overnight. It comes through planning. It comes through productivity. Joshua 1 verse 8, "And this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then shalt thou make thy way prosperous, and then shalt thou have good success." Who's going to make your way prosperous? You're going to make your way prosperous as you live a productive life, because prosperity and productivity are two sides of the same coin. One of my favorite verses of scripture from Proverbs, Proverbs 10 verse 4, "He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich." You get up and go to work. I do that every day. I get up and I go to work, and oftentimes I work all day long and into the evening. Why? Because I found that in productivity there is prosperity. Understanding at the same time, number three, that there are seasons and cycles that bring success. There are 7 fat cows, there are 7 skinny cows, 7 fat ears of corn, 7 skinny ears of corn. There are seasons and there are cycles. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1, "To everything there's a season and a time to every purpose under heaven." I want you to hear what I'm about to say. It'll either encourage you or it will discourage you. Every day isn't payday. Wouldn't it be wonderful if it was, if every day was payday? But every day isn't payday. But you do know when payday is going to come along, and you need to understand how to set aside some extra paydays. Understand the seasons and the cycles of your life. 1 Chronicles 12 verse 32, "And of the children of Issachar meaning success, were men that had understanding of the times to know what they should do." They understood their times. We're living in a strange time right now. Society is in a flux. The economy is going up and down. There's shortages in the land. But at the same time, there's provision in the land. Everything you need, as we learned on Monday, everything you need is in the land. You just have to understand the season that you're in, the cycle that you're in, and move accordingly. Seasons come in cycles, and that's not fatalism. It's just an understanding of the way things are set in place. Genesis 8 chapter, the 22nd verse, talks about seasons and cycles. "While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, day and night, summer and winter shall not cease." You sow into the season and you reap in another season. You sow into that season and you reap in the next season. And that's the way prosperity manifests in your life. Number 4, and I'm hurrying right along here, you need to catch the entirety of this teaching. The easiest way is to go to Facebook Aspire Church TV. That's Facebook Aspire Church TV. You can also go into the archives at our website, aspirechurch.tv. You really need to get the entirety of this teaching. Number 4, the people principle of prosperity. Why? Because most often, God uses people to prosper your lives. Pharaoh, Potiphar, the baker, the butler, Joseph's brothers, they were all people that came into his life. Some were friends, some were enemies, some were frenemies. But they were all put in place to bring him to an appointment with prosperity. There are people in your life that are bringing you to your appointment in prosperity. I'll never forget many, many years ago, meeting Paul Yates. I didn't like him. I didn't like him because I was scheduled to preach at a little church in Pleasant Grove, Texas. And when I got there a little bit late, he was up there with the microphone in his hand, and he was being dynamic, and it was my service, and I did not like him. He turned the service over into the hands of the pastor. The pastor gave it to me. We had church. A revival broke out. We got to be friends. And a little bit later, he said, I need you to go to church in Fremont, Ohio. Well, I went to Fremont, Ohio, and the rest is history. Been in Ohio now for over 40 years. It was a divine connection that lasted a good number of years. Listen, God brings people into your life to bring prosperity into your life. You need to recognize that. You don't use people, you don't abuse people, but you recognize that God does use people to bring prosperity into their lives. And ideally, at the same time, you're going to bring prosperity into their lives as well, because it's a mutually beneficial relationship that's a long-lasting relationship. That's as far as I can go today. I'll see you on Friday, this Sunday at Aspire Church. 5 questions for a storm. If you're going through a storm, you need to hear this message. Catch it live on the live stream at Aspire Church TV. Catch it on Facebook, Aspire Church TV. I'm Dr. Leon Stutzman, a.k.a. Doc. I'll see you then.